Hi, this is Paul and welcome on the 20th video tutorial. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to my channel right now and give like if you will see the video useful for you. Last time I talked about the pulse function that is part of the monitor section, and today I will describe in detail the record function that is also part of the monitor section. So let's see how it looks in the gene. The record function is right here. There is the control panel, and here we have the graph for the record function. And at first, let's jump into the user guide and see what it says about the record. So when we go to function monitor, here we have the description of the record function, and the record is recording the result values and showing the trend during the time. When we look to the control panel, we have the switch where we can switch it on and off. Then we can change the minimum lower peak of the pulse function using this bar. Here is the size of the minimum lower peak that I will describe later. Then we have the reset that we can delete complete record values and start it from 0. Also we have 3 options, that means which values we want to record. I will also explain down below. Then what is good and important to realize the size of the recorded fields, and in that we put 2 parameters. Now is the record count of X rows and of Y rows. The maximum number for the X rows is 2700, or in some cases it can be only 42, because some Excel has limit that you can have only 255 graph data lines, and each X row means 6 graph data lines. So if we have 255 divided by 6 is 42. So if you put more there, you can maybe, if your Excel will not support it, you can end up with error that it will not load all the lines. So it's about to check it with your version. Then the number of Y rows is not as limited as for the X rows, and the minimum is from 1 and the maximum is 1,048,000. From these limits we can calculate the maximum size of the recorded data. So in first scenario it can record more than 2 billion cycles, or it is record for, I would say, 1, 2 or 3 days. Or if you have these limits, you can save or store only about 44 million recorded cycles. Then when we look to the graph, we can show it and hide it. We can auto change the limits of the record on the left and right. So when you click it, then you can spread all the records from the left to the right. Then you can link the left and right locator that I will show later. And here we have on the left side we have height, which is the maximum amplitude of the pulse we can have from 0 to maximum that I will explain as well later. And here you have value for the height of the result that can be from 0 to 100%. The last horizontal axis, the amount of cycles from the beginning or from the recorded time, so it can be from 0 or from some another number to the end of the record. And what you can see in the record is the pulse amplitude shown like this. In initial color it is the blue one. Then are all results that went through the filter. Then are all printed results by the red rectangle, the top results by the green rectangle, and start of recording by this black point. Now you can see how it is displayed in the record graph. So we have here the pulse amplitude, all recorded values, all printed values by the rectangle, so it looks like a mushroom, and the best results. You see that if you start from the beginning, the best results are from the first result and then growing to the upper one. Now about the options. So you have three options. The first one, you are recording all parameters you decide. So you are recording the pulse, all results that went through the filter, all printed results, and the best results. This option is consuming the maximum amount of data and it's slowing the whole generation too much. So this option is not recommended to keep it for the whole time of your generation. Just use it for a short time for your analysis. The second option is without the pulse amplitude. So you are recording all results that went through the filter, then the printed results and the best results. And the third option is that only printed and the best results are recorded. This option is very good to use because if you imagine that you are running the gene for several days, you have usually not more than 100 results or something like this. So it means that you have only 100 results recorded during the whole generation, and from the observations after a number of cycles, so you can observe some pattern or something what is repeating, like we see here. We have one high result here, and in the almost the same distance we have other good results. So we can wait until the new result if there will be in the same pattern, and we can learn from this and use it for our decision what best results we will use for our ticket. Now let me talk about the pulse function. There is a small difference between the pulse I explained in the previous tutorial and the pulse which we have here. The difference is that in the pulse we know the amplitude was equal to the count of previous draws plus 1. It's the future one. But in this, the pulse is counted from the beginning of the box to the end. So it is the number of previous draws plus number of future draws plus 1. In this case is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can also see that we can have it from 1 to 5. And it makes sense because the record function is dedicated mainly to record the results, and every result is printed when the box is filled in until the end. It's more evident if I scroll up. It's more evident in this picture that you can see how the pulse is moving to the end of the box, and at the end just the result is printed, and it is everywhere. You see that at every end of the pulse function new result is printed, and there is its value in the percentage, like we have for example 20%, 40%, something like this in this beginning. And you have 2 or 3 values. There is a maximum lower peak, or sorry, this is minimum lower peak, which is always 1. Then the maximum lower peak is equal to number of previous draws plus 1, and this is what you can change. From 1 you can go up, so you are not using the low amplitude, and you are using that only if you are interested in the higher amplitude. And then there is the maximum upper peak, which is equal to the complete length of the box, and this is always at the end. This value, the number 1, or let's say the lower peak, you can change with these. Guys, if I scroll up, you can with the change of the scroll bar, and I will show it later. So this value is the minimum lower peak that you can adjust, and it is adjusted by itself, and then you can play in the gene directly with this. So this is about how to understand the pulse in the record function, and the rest I will directly show in the gene, all how it works. So we will activate the gene. We will select the Powerball game, and during the primary setting, only what we need to fill in is the count of the X rows and count of the Y rows for the record. So I will put here 20 and 500. The 20 is something like we will create 20 times 6, as I mentioned that there will be created for each number is 6 graph lines, so it will create 120 graph lines, which will take some time to create. So I can start these settings right now. So input and output boxes are printed, and also the record graph is adjusted. On the left side we will see the height of the amplitude for pulse, which is equal to 3 plus 2 and plus 1. So 3 previous draws plus 1 future and plus the future draws, these prediction slots. So this will be equal to 6, and the height of the result will be equal from 0 to 100. And now you see it here. I just made it auto because we are starting from 0, so we have it from 0 or from 1 to 6 and from 0 to 100. In advanced I prepared the numbers that we can put into the input box. The record is on, and also here we can switch it off with the master monitor button as well. So it's on, and I will start it. The first thing you can see here that these lines for the X are now created there, and there will be 120 of them created. If you use bigger number, it will take longer time. Now let me pause it and see what we have in the beginning. So there are the all recorded outputs and results that went through the filter, and there is no filter, so it is recording everything. Then we see the best results. These are the printed ones. There is the beginning of the recording, and here we have the pulse function. As the minimum limit is now 4, it is starting from 4 to 6 to the max. So the 6 is the 3 plus 1 plus 2, it is the 6, and is the minimum. It's equal like we have the maximum in the pulse function here, so here we can use it as the minimum. And I will continue to run it, and we are getting the best result that are printed, and this is result number 4, and it continues to record many results. And you can see the results that went through the filter has different values, and from that you can learn the pattern, and when the field we created here is filled, then it's overwritten and it is always the new record. So we are going through the time, and as the field for this demonstration purposes is not so big, then you see we are not keeping whole generation right here. What I can change now is to change the limit, the lower peak for the pulse function. So I change it to number 1, and I can use auto. Maybe I can pause it for a while, because if you want to adjust something, then it's sometimes good to use the pause, because it's easier to handle these things. So now it was extended to the complete length when I use the auto function. I can change the limit, so the pulse is changing here. So this is the first option you can have here, and I can continue and show the second option. And you see from now the second option is that there are only recorded results. If I will change the gate a little bit more, let me pause it, and then I will continue. Well, we can wait some time again, because now it takes the time to fill the field. And you see, I will just pause it. Now I can enlarge it to make it bigger. If I move the left locator and the right one, and you see here we have the recorded value in the bigger scale. If I want to move it, the record line, and trace in the same scale, I will just click link, and then these two will move together. So I can move it to the right, and you can see I have in the second option all results that went through the filter, and also the printed results. And final third option, I'll change it and continue that, will be only printed results. As I placed the gate in the very low value, is just 11% or 34% here, it's printing all, even the weak results. So this is something I would not recommend to use, but for the demonstration purposes and to make it quicker, that you see it in front of your eyes, is good to do it right now. So I would little bit wait until the field is filled. So we are out of display. So we can little bit wait until we get this printed result. So let me check it if it's already there. because it's not so visible right here. If I have only results, or yes, it is here. Yeah, so I have here only the results, and some from time to time there can be the best results as well. As I link it together, you have the option 2 where we had recorded all the results and the printed results, and in the beginning I will try to do it, and here is the option number 1. What you can also do when we continue it, I can reset it and it's starting recording from the beginning. I will place it into the option number 1, that it's filled quickly, and you see there is an option number 3 and we are starting with option number 1. If I switch it off and the gene is running and make it again, you see there is a again where it's the start of the recording and there is some gap between the last recording. I can do it again, and we got here, for example, other new best result. So the last thing I will show is using transfer. I will try to do some filter setting like I did on the previous tutorial as well, and I can continue, put it to 1, and now you see how the filter is. Now you see this, that the filter is going only a few times through, or the gene is getting over the filter only a few times, and then the result is printed. So based on this you can check how the filter setting is set it up and how frequently is letting the gene go through the filter. So we can continue. I can end it up, and I will try to make it even a little bit harder. I put number 3 here, and then we can run it, and you can see it's quite difficult to get over the filter. Now we got through that once. Also the result was printed because the gate is low. Here we have a better result. It's also changed the curve, and it is the result number 1196. So we see that the gate is very, in this case, is very low, and based on this you can adjust the gate as well. So I will just make the filter a little bit weaker here, that we can still see more values. So that's it. I can also change the record. And we see how it works, that now less data are recorded and it's more shrinked. I can put it auto back again. It will extend. Just let me pause it. So I think I did or presented everything I could do with the record function. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you missed something, just replay it. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel right now and give like if you will see the video helpful for you. Join us on the Facebook page, groups, follow the links in the description, and see you next time on the upcoming video stream update. So stay tuned and have a good time.